18 through 20 said, if the world hates you, you know that it hated me before it hated you. If you were of the world would love you as its own. Yet because you are not of the world, you're not of the world, but I chose you out of the world. Therefore the world hates you. Remember the word I said to you, a servant is not greater than his master. If they persecute me, they will also persecute you. If they kept my word, they will also keep yours. Okay, so people don't understand themselves because the separation has happened, and you have to start to understand the difference between Christians and people in the world. And the born again experience is that first division, and then being baptized in the Holy Spirit with power is another separation that happens even among believers. And so then you have people that are not baptized in the Holy Spirit, but they're born again and they have the Holy Spirit, but they don't have that extra added endowment. You have to go ahead and accept the fact that you're not part of the world. Your mind doesn't even know about it. So like right now, in the Spirit, all around you, there's all kinds of amazing things happening, but you can't see them. And sometimes you can feel them, but that's it's really not a feeling like in your soul. It's a sense in your spirit, because your spirit can pick up things. In 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verses 1, let's just go with 14, verse 14. But the natural man does not receive the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness to him, nor can he know them because they are spiritually discerned. Okay, so here is what's different about you. The reason why you might not understand yourself is that your eyes of your heart are open now. Here, the natural man, or the unredeemed, the person who's not born again, they cannot, they do not, but they cannot receive the things of the Spirit. It's impossible because they don't have the equipment inside of them. Yeah, they are an eternal spirit, but they're going to hell. They're not redeemed. So they're going to hell. They're not activated. So they cannot understand spiritual things. They're dead to spiritual things, but even though they're living. So they're predominantly ruled by their soul, which is their mind, will, and emotions, and their body. So this is how you have to look at people that are unredeemed. You could also be a Christian that's born again, but then your spirit is trapped because it has no expression. And why is that? It's because Christians can be carnal. And that's why Paul was talking to the Corinthians. He's saying that, I wish I could address you. The next chapter over in chapter 3, if you read it, 1 Corinthians, he says, I wish I could address you as the spiritual person I just talked about this whole chapter 2 that we're reading from. And he said, I can't, because you are carnal, mere babies. In other words, you're on milk and you should be on meat. So he wants to talk to them as spiritual people. But see, we would think that they were because they were used in the gifts of the Spirit so much, because that's, what we know Corinthians. The Corinthians were used in the gifts of the Spirit to where there were so many things going on that Paul had to tell them to kind of be a little more orderly about it, because there's so many people that want to be used in the spiritual gifts. But see, he wasn't calling them spiritual because they were used in the gifts. He was saying that a spiritual person is one that has understanding about the spirit realm, and that it has to do with character and not just the gifts. So with that, as a result, people don't know God. Why? Because they can't receive any revelation, because they're carnal. Even though they're born again and they are spirit-filled, they cannot receive revelation because they feed their flesh and they feed their mind, will, and emotions more than their spirit. So God's personality then is not understood because you're not open to revelation. And then it gets to this loop effect where it comes back around and you don't understand yourself because you don't understand your Creator and His personality and the way that He likes to do things, because He expects you to do it His way. And if you don't, then you're not going to connect. And that's what's happening with most people. So in order to understand yourself, you got to understand your Creator. And we'll get right back into this in the next session. Hello.